you for tuning in to the BIRNN Community Chronicles, the Blue Island and Robbins Neighborhood Network. This is a show about you. We bring together community members, leaders, and organizations to drive the change you want to see in Blue Island and Robbins. Now, here's your host, Program Manager for the BIRNN, Ken Benson.
Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the BIRNN Chronicles, the radio show of the Blue Island Robbins Neighborhood Network. As you know, week to week, we bring special guests on to talk about the work that they are doing in community, the things that they're doing to uplift the community, the positive things that sometimes we don't hear about when we hear about our communities. And so tonight, I am blessed to have two guests. I will give them an opportunity to introduce themselves so that I won't do a disservice to their introduction. But these are two gentlemen who work with the Robbins-Cal Park Eagles football league. And so I am going to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves, talk about what their title is and their role in the organization. And then we'll move on to have our normal Tuesday evening conversation. So we're going to start with Mr. Hampton to allow him to introduce himself. And then after he gives his introduction, we will have Coach Shepard introduce himself. And both of you gentlemen, wonderful and fine gentlemen, can talk about your title with the organization and a little bit about what you do day to day for the organization. So we're going to start with you, Mr. Hamp, and then we're going to go to Coach Shep.
Thank you very much, Ken. Everyone, my name is Glenn Hampton. I am the president of the Robbins-Cal Park Eagles. This is my 25th year of service. I serve as the president, and not only do I serve as the president on our association, I also serve on the Greater Illinois AYF Board of Directors as the VP of Rules and Regulations.
Wonderful, wonderful. 25 years. That's a wonderful thing. We definitely going to dive into what would keep you going for 25 years. But before we do that, we want to bring in the illustrious and wonderful Coach Shepard. Introduce yourself to our listeners and viewers. Tell them a little bit about you and what you do.
My name is Gilbert Shepard. I am on the advisory board for the Robbins-Cal Park Eagles. I also coach the 11U football team with the Eagles, and I've been with the Eagles for 24 years.
Wow.
So that's kind of, we just do it because we love it.
No, I would most marriages don't last 25 years. So I definitely know that you have to love what you do in order to continue to do it for so many years. And so that's the first thing I really want to get into. And feel free to jump in either one. I don't want to just have to go back and say, you know, you do this and you do that. This is a great conversation. So we're going to do this as if we were just all sitting in the living room together. So first question I have is, what would make you stay with this football organization, with this youth football league for so many years? So this time I'm going to say, Mr. Hamp, I want you to go first for 25 years because you got a year on Coach Shep. We're going to let you go first. And then Coach, after him, if you gentlemen can tell us what about this league and this organization would have you stay around for so many years.
Well, I'll start by saying you got to have a passion for it. I came up in an area of Robbins on Maxi Court where the older guys on the block, basically, they supported the younger guys on the block. They looked out after us, and they also helped us out. So they would always teach us things. And one of the things that they would teach us is sports. And from that, I always learned that eventually you're going to always need help at some point. You can't do nothing on your own. So those guys were able to teach us those building blocks, which I utilize every day in my life.
Wow, wonderful. Coach Shepard, what about you? What made you stay around 24 years with this organization?
Well, just seeing how you can affect the youth the kid's life. I mean, coaching so long, seeing kids that came through the organization are young adults now. I coach kids, and they fly commercial airplanes now, and they're in the Air Force. They're flying jets. So and a lot of kids, especially that not were college material. I didn't go to college, and they came out and found it. Helped them find their way. Also, just parents, the kids that didn't have that supporting staff at home. They look at us like a second father. Or their father in some cases. So it's the love of you. Got to have the passion. Like Coach Hamp, my uh, family were all in sports, and so I just kind of followed the trend.
No, I think that's great. Being a person who actually played youth football and little league baseball, and I was blessed enough to go into high school, and that's kind of where my career ended. But being able to play sports for so long, from I believe I was 8 all the way through my senior year of high school, I think the one thing that was important to me, and then I was able to go back into the community in which I grew up, and I was able to coach a few championship little league baseball teams. And I think, Coach Shep, the thing that you said that really stuck with me is that those kids really, especially in the underserved communities in which we work in, a lot of those kids just did not have the structure at home that they got when it came to playing sports. And, just being able to have that structure, being able to have somebody that cared enough to yell at you, or somebody, that cared enough to make sure that you knew in order to play on this team, you had to do well in school. And so I just want to just really touch on that a little bit more. So when you talk about like these young men or women that are looking up at you and really looking at you as that person in their life that they may be missing, what are some of the core values that you believe the Eagles impart into some of these young people?
Uh, the main core value I can say throughout the entire association is about family. We understand that we serve in an area that's challenged. And so one of the things that we have to have is we have to have a program that's family oriented and invites the families to participate and become a member of our. So we pride ourselves in running a respectful program so that when it comes down to time for those parents to make a decision whether to play for us or whether to play for somebody else, we want them to know they're coming to a family oriented program. And that makes a big difference between choosing our program and choosing a different program.
No, thank you. That's wonderful. Coach Shep, do have a question. So, the one thing about coaching and being in these underserved communities, a lot of times we work with families, as Coach Hemp said, that really don't have much. And so it's not like, these travel AAU teams where they can afford to pay all of this money to be a part of the program. And so how do you work with families and children who may not have all of the fees that they need to have new cleats, or to get new jerseys every year? How does the organization help to offset some of those costs to be able to make sure that these kids have a wonderful experience as they play for you guys?
Well, we have, I mean, we have ways of, for our certain paying your registration. We try to find the kids sponsors. The coaches sometimes sponsor kids. We look for different networks and different people, or go to our alumni to ask to help sponsor kids, or we have kids that's on our team right now that we had to go buy shoes for. The coaches got together and brought shoes for them. I mean, it's just we try to do whatever we can, because we know a lot of kids, a lot of families, a lot of kids don't have the household sponsor the support that they need, or the parent just can't do it. I mean, we had families that are close to being evicted, and we try to find them help and resources to so they can have a home to stay in. So we try to just do more than just stress just doing sports. We try to we try to make sure we award our kids that have good grades. So we try to get the kids what they need, to be successful in our program and successful in life.
No, I think that's great. That's wonderful. And I'm sorry, Coach Hamp, you were going to say something?
No, I was listening to Chef.
Oh, okay, no problem. So I think that is wonderful. And Coach Shep, you said something, and I want both of you guys to really chime in on this. The Coach Shep, I've heard you say a couple of times about education and being a good student athlete. So just talk about how important that is to this organization, the young people that you work with, not only that they are the bomb on the field, but that they are also the bomb in the classroom. And so what kind of steps do you take as an organization to make sure that the young people that you coach and that are a part of the organization understand how important it is to be well educated?
Well, one thing I'll start out by saying is ever since I've been involved in this, one of the criteria for our program and for the conference that we've been involved with conferences that promoted education as part of the actual sports program. So they've had Little Scholars program, which Little Scholars were for basically your top tier 90 percentile and up. And they acknowledge those kids. And we've actually had kids who receive scholarship money for college from those programs. Right now, we're a current member of American Youth Football, or AYF. AYF has the American Allegiance Association, which it's also promotes scholars, and they do it at an 80% level so that they can get more kids involved in that program.
Wow, that's wonderful. Coach Chef, from your perspective, how is it? I know you said it's extremely important to be, good both in the classroom and on the field, but what are some of the steps that you take to ensure that some of the people on the young people on the team that you coach take school seriously? Let's put it that way.
Well, one thing we do, we stress this in practice. You're a student athlete. You're not as the key word is student first, and you're an athlete
Right.
second. If you don't have the grades, then you're not going to be able to be on the field. So we try to partnership with the parents. We actually had kids this year. We talked to some kids that maybe was having trouble in school, and the parents welcomed us in. Hey, could you go up to the school and talk to the teacher? And whatever we can do to help a kid out that may be having trouble in school, or if he's doing good in school, word him at practice or let it be known by the other kids that, hey, this actually it's funny we bring this up because yesterday we had some kids bring their report card. I guess they got their first quarter report card, and we had like 5 or 6 kids bring their report cards with A's and B's, and so we made them shine, and we're trying to tell the other kids you got to have the grades if you want to be able to do sports or whatever you do in life. You got to have the grades to succeed. So we try to award our kids. We try to let them know at practice. Don't let your not doing good in school take you off the field. Because if you're not doing good in school, then it's going to take you off the field. It's going to take you out. It's going to affect you later on in life. So we try to stress. Ain't nothing like when I see a kid that I coached 10, 15 years ago, and they come up to me and they say, "What's up, coach?" That warms my heart. I know I affected that kid because once you're a coach, you're gonna always be a coach to that kid. So it's nothing. It's no greater feeling. So that's what keep me around so long, and the love of that just is something else you can't
Wow,
explain.
that is so wonderful to hear. And a question that I have, and this is something that I've been thinking about just when I think about youth sports in general, that by you guys being involved in this league for so long, you've seen young people change over the generations. And each year, and this just may be me, and I'll just make a disclaimer that these are my thoughts. But over the years, I've seen young people change, their attitudes change, their sense of entitlement change. It's just this younger generation, they have access to a whole lot more than maybe kids did 25 years ago when you started doing this, or maybe when you or we were playing, youth sports. So they have access to a whole lot more. They live in this social media kind of life, and everything is really fast paced. So when you think about kids who have access to everything, how do you keep them focused on the field? How do you let them know, like, okay, we have a team, but there are no superstars here. We all, are a part of this team, and this team is what we need in order to be successful. So how do you stop superstars in a day and age when everybody is talking about being the star?
Well, I will say this, Ken, in regards to that question. One of the things that we do from top to bottom, we teach about being excellent at what we do. Even though not all of our teams go undefeated every year, one of the things we pride ourselves on from our program is for us to be successful. Now, what is success? Well, we could be 4-4 and be more successful than a team that's 8-0. It's all about perspective. And one thing I can say in regards to our program, we, in many years of winning a lot of championships throughout the different leagues that we've been in, there was a lot of times when we were not considered like the 1 seed. We was like a maybe even a middle seed or 3-4 seed. Always teach those values in the kids to believe. And once you have that belief and a good system, you can do anything that you want to do. And so we've won many championships when we weren't even the best team going into the playoffs. And just like life, you need a couple breaks. We got a couple breaks, and we brought home the trophy in the end.
All right, all right. And you know what? That brings me to this next thing, because I do know a little bit about your team. I was introduced to the team by the producer of our show, Miss Shepherd. But the one thing that it just really struck me to be something that I saw as a strength for your team is that most teams, they can play in their hometown. A lot of teams, that wherever they are from, they have a field somewhere in that city or that village or that town where they play. But great news, and I definitely want you guys to talk about it now. But for quite some time, Robbins has not had its own football field where you can actually host home games. So I want you to talk about, it was that difficult? If it was, how did you guys work around that? And then I want you to break the news tonight, if you can, if it's still not top secret, about the wonderful thing that's going to happen for football in the village of Robbins pretty soon, going into next year. Either one of you jump in and talk about that, if you will.
You want me to go, Shep, or you want to go?
Well, I tell you what, we had over the years, we had a whole lot of support. I mean, it's been rough, man. At times, we had places where we didn't even have a place to practice, and we always just managed to, knock on the right door, and God sent the right people our way, and we partnership with actually Calumet Park, and we actually merged with their program, and that was a big boost to our program. The school districts in 218 Oh, they're awesome. Richards, Eisenhower, Shepard, they were awesome. They gave us a field to play on, practice fields. To the day, they still do it. You know, I'll let our president break the, talk about the other stuff, but it's about time that things coming together for our program. Like I said, we're the longest running youth program in Robbins, over
41
41
years.
years. This will be our 41st season, not non-stop. We never stop. We had some rough years in there, but we put our egos to the side. That's one thing I'd say about our board. Our president. We put our egos to the side and we do what's best for our program and for the kids. So, it's a shame, but we got kids coming from all over that want to be a part of this. That, some kids don't even live in Robbins. They come from 53rd and Stony, to play with us, because they know about our program and what we're doing and, what we bring to the table. I just, I take pride in, far as what we do. And I think we're heading in the right direction, and I think this, the mayor Robbins is working on trying to get us a field. You know, I want to see it. I want to see it come. I want to see it start being built. But I'm hearing it's coming. But I'll let our president elaborate.
All right, yeah, Coach M, tell us about this great news that we are hearing rumbling in the community about something that will be a true blessing, as Coach said, to your organization.
Well, you're right. This is breaking news. We received word today that on October 1st, they will break ground on our new game field.
All right.
Field, which will be provided with lights and bleachers.
Wow.
We are very excited. This has been a long time coming. There's been a lot of prayers through this. Like Chef said, first of all, you got to believe. And one of my beliefs is I believe in God, and I believe that God allowed this to happen at the time when it was ready for it to happen. I've been doing this 25 years. We've been talking about getting the for 25. But one thing about it is the time right? And obviously the time must be right because we were alerted today that groundbreaking will happen October 1st, and it should be done this year, late in the year. So very excited.
Wow, that is wonderful. I can't even imagine. And I want to make sure that we are out there with our cameras to capture the not only the groundbreaking, but when you guys do the ribbon cutting. And I just want to see the faces of the kids, those who are presently playing, those who played in the past, those who may want to play, to be able to look in their own community and see this investment in their community, this investment towards young people. I say this all the time: where there are no young people in community, the community will not survive. You see nothing but you just chaos and calamity. But if you have a community that's investing in their young people, then you're investing in the future. And so I'm so excited. I think I may be more excited than you guys are to hear about, like, over 40 years just persevering and just going and going and going. And now finally coming to this right time where you'll be able to stay inside of your own community and be able to play and practice. I just think it's going to be wonderful. And to have lights out there, I just think it's going to be a wonderful thing. So I do have a question. When we talk about the league, what age groups are eligible to participate in this league?
So our league goes from ages 6 to age 14. We ourselves typically stop at 13. 14 is more for those states who don't have like freshman slash JV football. So then they're 14-year-olds who may be considered still in high school, but there's no high school football for their age, so they'll stay on. And that's one of the competitive disadvantages that we have when we get to those upper levels. So again, we're part of a national program. Not only is it national, but it starts off locally here with our conference. We're one of the few conferences. Once you win your conference, you then represent your conference in participation in a state playoff where you have to become the state champion. Once you become the state champion, you then go to participate in regionals. Regional football this year will be held in the state of Michigan. It takes place over the course of 2 consecutive days. And from the regional, if you to win your games, then the regional champion, and then you go down and play in the national championship down in Naples, Florida.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. And Coach Shepard, you said you coach what ages?
I coach 11U. 11
Okay, so let me ask you this. I'm 11-year-old and I'm listening. I'm up tonight and I'm listening to this program and I'm interested in becoming a part of your program. How do I get connected? How can I be down?
Hey, well, we got different ways, Well, right now, you'll definitely have to wait till next season
All
to
right.
join. But we have a Facebook page. I don't have it in front of me. We have a website. You can go on our website and sign up and also pay. Uh, Also, hey, if you come up to one of our practice locations, we practice at a couple different locations. 3800 Trumbull Robbins Community Center. We have a team that practices at the BIRNN High School in Midlothian, Midlothian, Illinois. So we got you. There's ways to communicate and sign up. And one thing, like I say, we can pride ourselves with is we don't turn nobody. We don't turn no kids away. Long as this it's not a safety issue where someone can get hurt or whatever. We're not turning kids away. We had teams that had 30 kids, 35 kids, and we had to we was trying to find we have 2 teams on that one level, like the 11U B team.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we try to do what we can to accommodate the youth, and anybody can sign up. Like I say, everything we stress safety. That's the number one thing. As long as it's safe for that kid to play or safe for the organization, then you can sign.
Wow, that's wonderful. And I do believe that the website is Robbins-Cal Park Eagles.org. So I think if you go to Robbins-Cal Park Eagles.org, you'll see a lot of information about the organization and ways to not only get in contact with the coaches, but there's an opportunity there that we want to talk about right now is a way to support financially the league. And so either one of you gentlemen, just talk about, I'm out here, I'm a sponsor, I'm an organization that may be listening to this. I am just a person that may have lived in Robbins years and years ago, and I got a little money stuffed up under the mattress, and I want to just give to what you guys are doing. What would you say would be the best way, or several ways, to be able to support financially the work that you are doing with the organization?
Well, the quickest and easiest way is to go to the website, Robbins-Cal Park Eagles.org. Hit the donate button, and at that point, you can donate what you find under your mattress.
All right.
We do have different sponsor levels, so if you want to become a different sponsor and want to achieve one of our sponsorship levels, we have that information posted on the website as well.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So let me ask you this: can you describe? And so I'm gonna go. I know you both are coaches, but I'm gonna pick on Coach Shep with this one. Can you describe a typical training or a typical practice for young people? And I'm gonna tell you why I'm asking this question. So just say, for instance, I'm listening, and I may not be as athletically inclined as some other folks. And to hear you say, hey, if I want to play, you'll find a spot for me. And so I may not be the fastest, I may not be the strongest, I may not be the tallest, I might be the handsomest, but that may not count on the football field. But I want to come out and I want to know what it is before I get out there. What is practice like? Are they gonna kill us? Do we get water? Do we do up downs all day long? Do we do up and down the fields? What is a typical practice session like for these 11-year-olds that you coach?
Well, we pride ourselves on structure. We, we typical practice is we come together at 6 o'clock, and we have warm ups. You line up for warm ups, and we do our push up and do our stretching. Make sure nobody pulls anything. Uh, once we do that, we give the kids a few minute break. Get a water break and come back out. And just for example, yesterday we try to keep practice fun. We don't want to do the same thing all the time. So we try to keep practice fun. We do different drills. Yesterday we worked on. I'm offensive lineman, a lineman coach on offense and defense. So we did different drills where we did angle tackling, or we showed people how to block. And we tell guys it's all about feet and hands when you're blocking on offenses. All about working their hands on defense and attacking. So you try to keep practice fun. And even the kids that are, this might be their first year. We match up. Like I said, everything is safety. We match kids up with your talent level until we bring that kid up to speed. And once we get them up to speed, then we turn them loose and match them up with maybe some of the strong kids, but that's going to make them better. So we take our time and train the kids, whether it's their first year or whether it's their fifth year. You're never too old to learn, So some of the kids have been around for a while, Some of them, they think they know it all until we bring up a new drill. We run a new play, now their eyes is wide open and they want to learn. So we try to keep it interesting, try to keep it fun, and we try to bring everybody together, let them know. We got a saying during our practice, I got your back, you got my back, So we try to make it where you make it where for our son, give them life lessons. We ain't just teaching football. We teaching life lessons. You're gonna have to work with a team when you get older. So we try to tell them you got to be able to work with your teammates. You got to be able to work in a team. So so we try to keep it interesting and throw curves at the kids and make them think all the time. And we got a push-up challenge. When we get online like we are now, kids get online, they got to do 30 push-ups a night. So we try to keep it fun, try to keep it interesting, and it works.
No, I think that's wonderful. And the one thing that I'm glad you talked about and you really put an emphasis on, because I hear now more than I did back when I was younger, and I may be a little bit older than you two gentlemen, so I might date y'all a little bit, but we won't talk about that. But growing up, safety was not as much of an issue as it is now. So you hear a lot of parents like, I'm not letting my kids play football. You even hear professional athletes that were in the NFL who actually played football at the highest level that you could play that will say, I will never let my children play football. That is the last thing that I will ever let them do. So if we have parents that are listening tonight, or young people that are interested, can you really talk about, I know you mentioned safety, but can you talk about just any ways that you can to maintain the safety of the young people, not only during practice, but also during the games?
Yeah, I'll put it all together for you. So There's not a single coach that is in our association that doesn't do two sets of training. One is what they call the National High School Federation training, and the other one is the AYF coach training. In those training sessions, they go over many things that you can do to learn and teach the game of football. And one of the things when I was coaching, I no longer coach, but when I was coaching, uh, I found by utilizing those skills learned in those training sessions that I was totally able to get away from doing any live hitting in practice. I
Mm.
was years without even doing live. And basically what we taught the fundamentals of the game, how to get to the right spot, how to get to the proper angle, how to position the players. And we just kept reiterating it and stressing it, stressing it. And then when it got on the field, it was just automatic. And I can say that my teams, when I was coaching, we used to definitely lead our division in turnovers because we were one of the soundest, fundamental, hardest hitting teams that played the game.
No, I think that's important. I think fundamentals, I think sometimes we get away from the basics in all of our sports. You know, if you just know the basics, you will be successful. But let me ask you this, and I'm gonna pose this question to Coach Shep. The world that we live in now, and I think this is important that we talk about diversity and inclusion. So I want to say I know a little girl who is saying, I want to play football. And you know, I don't see a lot of girls. I remember watching the story a little while ago when the Harvey Colts existed that they had a female quarterback, and she was like this unicorn. Like it was such a great story because you saw this young lady who was playing quarterback, and she was out there game after game, scrapping with the boys. So I want to play football, and you come to a dad like me, and you say, "Dad, I want to play football," and I'm like, "You gas to be kidding me! There is no way I am going to let you play football. They probably wouldn't let you play anyway." So, Coach Shep, what do you do? What like talk about diversity? Like, if I'm a little girl and I want to play, what is that like for me?
Well, well, I tell you this, my 11U team, I think we're, correct me if I'm wrong, 11, Coach Hamp, we have what we call the first lady on our team. We have a young lady on our team. She loves football. And I had the privilege of, we had at least in my 25 years, I know of at least three young ladies that wanted to play and their parents let them play. And you know, we try to tell people about safety. One thing about it, when that thing was going on with the NFL and the concussions and all that, every football across the country, youth football, high school, we all suffered because a lot of parents took their kids out of football, you know, because of the concussion. So I mean, you know, back in the day, you said like back in the day, we used to play. We used to have bull in the ring. We used to have what they call bull in the ring. You know, one guy standing in the middle of the ring in a circle, and you run at, you point at him, then you go bang him up. And like Coach Champ said, you know, we eliminated all of that. Uh, we eliminated a lot of that, you know, unnecessary contact. So, you know, so safety is a big part of, you know, what we do, as far as certain, you know, and any young lady that wants to play and their parents, but you got to have that parent that's gonna say, you know, they can
Right.
play, but because most men, women, they're like, you ain't
That's
playing
right.
no football. I mean, my own granddaughter wanted to play,
Mm.
and she's like, you better go pick up them pom poms and get on that
Right.
cheerleading team. So I like, well, your mama wouldn't let you play. So, you know, you know, if a young lady come and want to play, you know, they coming to an organization that's safe, as Coach Hamp said. We go through extensive training, all our coaches, and we don't do any unnecessary hitting or you know, like I said, that old fashioned bull in the ring 5 yards apart, just running to each other. You be looking at you look online, you be seeing that stuff online. So we like I say, our organization stress safety. That's my number one thing.
No, I think that's wonderful.
I'll say
Question. Oh,
this,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Coach Hamp.
I'll say this. It also goes both ways. Right now, we have 2 females playing football this year,
All right.
and we also welcome the opportunity if we have some boys who want to be cheerleaders. The door's wide open for that as well.
All right. All right. I used to always think that they would talk about the guys that would be a part of the cheerleaders, but I was thinking to myself, hey, it was great to play sports, but they got to hang out with the girls all day long. So that that might have been the best place to be instead of running up and down the field sweating. I might have wanted to been over there with the girls, but hey, that's another story for another day. So just say, for instance, I am a person that's truly an athlete and I may be involved in some other athletics. Is it possible that I can still participate in the football league and still play some other sports that I may be involved with?
Yes. In fact, we
Yeah, we actually have kids that are, that's actually playing basketball right now. So they have a basketball, in their grade school. So I think as long as you ain't playing football with another team, then you can be in other sports and still participate with us. As long as it's not, you're playing with another football team. You can't be dual roster with another
Okay.
team.
Okay. So good question, and I would like both of you to answer this. So, and I think Coach Hamp talked about this. That sometimes you may be 4-4, sometimes you may not be undefeated. So, how do you work with the kids through those rough times when you may be on a losing streak, you may not have won a game, or I can remember this, and don't you guys laugh at me, but I remember my freshman year of high school. I'm gonna shout out Thornton Township High School in Harvey, but we played a game against, I want to say, Lincoln Way South or something like that. We got blew out 54-0. I mean, 54-0. And we had a few games like that because most of the people that played hadn't really played before. So when you get to places, and I know you guys will never be beat like that, but when you get to places like that, when you are having a rough time or you having a losing streak, how do you get the kids beyond that? How do you work with them to let them say, don't be discouraged, don't stop right here, we got to keep pushing? So both of you guys, I want you to answer that.
well, I'll
Let me
start
let
with
me start before I forget. One of my best, most funnest years coaching was coaching a team that was 0-8. We
Oh,
didn't win
wow.
a game all regular season. Every game we lost was in single digits. I mean,
Mm,
we had a good team, but they just couldn't quite put it together.
right.
And then now just so happened that we had 8 teams in the schedule, and just so happened another team was 0-8, but we made the playoffs because we allowed the fewest points. But
Mm,
to this day, coaches from I coached back. This was a team maybe about 12 years, 14 years ago, and we got a saying: 0-8, second in state. That
all
team was
right.
0-8. When we got to the playoffs, we showed out. The
All
number
right.
one, we had to go against the number one seed, and we looked at game film and we knocked them out, and we saw this. So I say that just to stress, we told the kids don't give up. Every
All right.
game we was losing by, just that a little inkling. But to this day, I mean, coaches that I coached against from years, as soon as they see me, they say, Coach Shep, 0-8, second in state.
All
And
right.
that was second in state, but that was a great accomplishment from going 0-8 and beating the first place team and beating the third place team when they have. Yeah. So don't ever give up. We teach our kids, it ain't over till it's over.
All
So
right.
that was my most enjoyable season.
Wonderful. Coach Hamp, I want you to jump in. How do you get those kids through those rough times, those rough games?
It's very simple. It's all about perspective. Yes, you may lose a game by a large margin, but then you break it down. How did they get it? Sometimes when you look at games like that, it gets away from a team real early. Like they'll jump on you and you be down 21-0 before the first 2 minutes are over. So from a coaching perspective, you say, okay, what if we don't turn these balls over? What if we get one more first down here? What if we make one more play? And when you start teaching the fundamentals, teaching the sport, and start making those plays, now you get to the fourth quarter, you're in a game in the playoff against the team who they can't understand. We beat you 40-0, and now you're on top of us 14-6 going into the fourth quarter. And for them, it's a shocker. But for us, it's just standard protocol.
All right. All right.
Perspective. And that's why you have to teach the fundamentals. And one thing I congratulate my coaches on and their staffs, because they have staffs. They don't just have a single coach. They have guys who teach the game and keep stressing the game. And not only do they do it on day one, they also do it to the very last day when the very last game is over.
Wonderful, wonderful. So as we have a few moments left, and this has been just probably one of the best shows I've been a part of, because this is something that I love, sports. But I want you guys to talk about, and one of you think about a success story that you had with a young person that played at any level with you guys, and they went on to maybe play at a higher level in high school or college, or maybe even in semi-pro or pro. So can you think of or maybe just went into another facet of life that they were very successful in, but the foundation was set because they played on the Robbins-Cal Park Eagles. Can you think of one success story and tell our listeners a little bit about that?
Sure, I'll start with this one, and because this is a recent one.
All right.
Many years back, and we're talking the 2006 season, we had a quarterback named Marquise, who was our quarterback. Marquise was a decent quarterback. He did throw touchdown passes. He ran the ball for touchdowns. He was a very good player. All right. Fast forward to this past August 22nd. We ended up playing a team down in St. Louis. He just so happens to be the head coach.
All right. All right. All right.
Funny thing about it was his team played against Coach Shep's team.
Wow.
So the funny thing is, he comes up to us before the game. He sees us. He's like, "Hey, Coach Hamp, how you doing? I'm so glad we playing you guys." And then he asked me, "Are you guys still running that same 44 power?" I say, "I'm sure you'll see it once or twice
There
today."
you go. There you go. Wow. So we got a few minutes, and our producer is telling me we got a few minutes left. So it would be robbery for me if I did not give you guys an opportunity, because I know I'm talking to two of a long line of people who are responsible for the success of this team. So I want to give you an opportunity now with these last minutes that we have to introduce your coaching staff. So the people who are, shout them out, give us their names, so that when they watch this, they know that you didn't forget about them and the work that they put into the success of the team. So I'm putting somebody on spot. Now you got to know you can't forget no coach, because they're gonna get you if you do. So now,
My coaching staff. We got a lot of coaches. We got a lot of different levels, but my particular coaching staff. I got to start off with my brother. He came in with Coach Hamp. They the two got a year on me. Coach Chuck, uh, he's our offensive coordinator for the 11U. Coach Aaron is our defensive coordinator. Coach Cordell, he just came on board this year. Coach Darian, Let's see, who am I? There, I can't forget our head coach, Coach David, and Coach Lewis, and then also we have Coach DeAndre. His job take him off the field sometimes, but when he's there, valuable advice. So yeah, that'd be the coaching staff that I coach with.
All right, Coach, Mr. President Hampton, we got 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes to tell the listeners the rest of those coaches that Coach Shep missed.
Okay, but before I touch on the coaches, I want to touch on the board. Even though, again, I'm the president, we have a board of 11 members. I won't go through all the names.
Please, you won't have time for the 11 members now. You got it.
But they know who they are.
All right, all right.
As for my coaches, I start with my 7U coach, Jeff Bowie. My 8U coach is Kevin, we call him Bama Cabell. Our 9U coach is Amir Ross. Our 10U coach, and I'm saying this correctly, is Dr. Jared Hampton Marcel.
All right.
And last but not least, our 11U coach, again, Coach Shep said this is David.
Wow, wonderful. We are nearing the end of I think I got 2 minutes left before I get in trouble. So I want to give each one of you, and I do this with any of the guests on our program, give each one of you a minute and maybe 20 seconds to tell our listeners anything else that we may have missed or something that you want them to know about the work that you're doing in the community. So we're going to start with you, President Hampton, and then we're going to end with Coach Shep. So you got about a minute and 20 seconds to just tell our listeners and our viewers anything that you want them to know that we have not touched on this evening.
So I tell you that God's person. My thing is, it's not about me. It's about the program. It's never been about me. If I could have had my way, I would have had all of my coaches and all of my staff on this before I even got here.
All right.
I'm full believer in it's about us working together as a unit and teaching those same values to the kids as well, because you can't do anything by yourself. And I'm grateful for all the help that I get on a day-to-day basis.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. And Coach Shep, you got a minute in a few seconds.
Well, I think one reason why our program's been so successful, Coach Hamp touched on, is just having a great board. Having people that's about the kids, and so that's the number one thing. If you don't have a good board, then you're not going to have a good program. A lot of teams find that out, and I just enjoy seeing kids 10, 15, 20 years later, they see me and just see them light up, see their face light up. That does it for me. I mean, that's why we do this, We for our community, for the kids and for the youth of Robbins and surrounding areas. If you want a good program, come join the Robbins-Cal Park Eagles football.
All right.
This year.
All right. Again, that email address, that website is the Robbins-Cal Park Eagles.org. I want to thank you, Coach Hamp. I want to thank you, Coach Shep. Thank you for sharing and making this an enjoyable evening. And I'm sure that people are going to see this and they're going to bombard the website to donate, to volunteer, and to bring some young people. And so until next Tuesday, I want to thank you for joining the BIRNN Chronicles, the radio show of the Blue Island Robbins Neighborhood Network. Peace.
BIRNN Community Chronicles. Catch us next Tuesday and every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central.